Everybody can hear me. All right, good deal. All right, well, welcome to the last session of the day. I know our lunch is settling in, and we are thinking about getting back to our rest of our lives. But I would like to introduce you to our student panelists here in a couple minutes. When I first approached the planning team about offering to do a student panel for this day, I imagined a breakout session, 30 to 40 faculty. Nothing too major that a student wouldn't say, all right, I've had speech class, I can do this. And then they called me to say, Sarah, that is such a great idea that we should do that in front of everybody. So you can imagine my concern about not finding some brave students who are willing to do this in front of all of us, but indeed I did. So I would like to start us off by just having each of the panelists introduce yourselves, tell us how long you've been here, and also your academic or career plan here at GRCC. Corbin, start us off. Sorry.
My name is Corbin Armach. I've been going to GRCC for too long now. And my career plan is I will be attending GVSU in the fall for communications degree.
Sarah.
I'm Sarah Stanford, and this is my third year at GRCC, and I will be attending my second semester starting next week. And I am planning on transferring to Western Michigan University in the fall in order to go after a human resources management degree.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenya Lee. I have only been attending for 1 year. I am going for 2 different degrees, an associate's degree in business management / supervision, as well as business administration. I hope to continue on with a bachelor's degree in both in the near future.
Hello, Andrew Jenke. I've been here for about 3 years now, and I'm pursuing a degree in either software development or computer engineering, and I plan to transfer to Michigan Tech coming this fall semester.
Okay, thank you. All right, Corbin, just to start back with you, I'd like you to share with us your disability and why you chose to register with the Disability Support Services Office.
My disability is severe / chronic depression and suicidal tendencies. I chose to register with the DDS to basically allow myself to attend at a part-time level while maintaining full-time credit, and allow myself to register early for classes.
Okay, Sarah?
For 22 years, pretty much all my life, I have been dealing with Leber's congenital amaurosis, which is what caused my blindness. And I decided to register with the Disability Support Office in order to have longer time on my tests because of some of the accommodations that I've needed. For example, I have needed a person to write down every single one of the problems and the answers to the problems for math, even though I did have the test in Braille. And also to have longer time using a speech-adapted computer for the rest of the exams and tests that I've needed to take, and also to register for classes early so that way I could get a good schedule and know where I was going with everything.
Okay, thanks. Kenya?
I suffer from both physical and mental disabilities. To start with my physical is primary lateral sclerosis, which is a form of multiple sclerosis, degenerative disc disease of the lumbar, osteoarthritis of the lower spine, and degenerative joint disease of both hips and both shoulders. As far as mental, I suffer from MOD, which is a mood disorder, kind of like bipolar, post-trauma stress disorder, as well as it's like an anger disorder, where if I get very angry, I can black out at points. rest assured it's under control. Uh, just in case I'm in any of your classes.
As I mentioned, brave students.
I decided to register just because there's sometimes with my physical disabilities, it's very hard for me to get out of bed and to even be able to move. And I don't want my professors to think that I'm trying to skip class or that I do not care about my education, because my education is second most important to me next to my children. And as a business major, I'm also a business owner, so I've learned that documentation is your best friend.
Andrew, share with us.
All right. I have Asperger's syndrome, which is more of a hidden disability. And the reason why I registered with the Disability Support Center is because it just seemed like the next logical step to take when I was moving from high school to college. And that's about it.
Okay, were you encouraged to register with us from your high school, or did you kind of choose to do that on your own?
I just kind of chose to do it on my own. I mean, it just seemed like the next logical thing to do, just make sure everything was in place and I had help if I needed it.
Okay, thanks. All right, as part of the process that each student with disability goes through, they meet with the Disability Support Office, and we talk over their documentation, discuss accommodations that they're going to have, and then we create an accommodations agreement. As part of the process, the students are required to then communicate those accommodations to the faculty members, usually by showing them that accommodations agreement, whether it's in person or through email, and then a discussion following. How do each of you approach that conversation about needing accommodations with your faculty, and how can we as faculty help make this step easiest for you? Sarah, we'll start with you. Actually, no, we won't. Kenya. I had told her she wasn't going to answer that one. Sorry, Sarah. Kenya.
In the past, I never brought it up until it was needed. With my back injury, there's times where I need to sit and stand as needed. I might need a more comfortable chair. So if my class is only an hour, hour and a half long, I can deal with the pain. But for like the 3-hour classes, it gets very difficult. You know, if we don't get breaks, it gets even more difficult. So I always try and not say anything. And most importantly, I always wait for maybe a week or two until my professor has a feel for me and can tell that I am a serious professional, you know, and we get a kind of a connection, and they can believe my sincerity when I tell them, look, this is what's going on, you know, please have a little bit of understanding and leniency with me. You know, I'm just need a moment of time here and there, you know, and I don't want to disrupt your class. That's the most important thing to me, is that I show you enough respect to say, look, I'm not trying to disrespect your class. I'm going to sit either in the very back or I'm going to sit on the side. That way I'm not drawing attention away from the other students, you know, and you, or even kind of distracting you from what you're trying to say.
Thanks. Andrew, share with us how you approach that conversation.
Well, sometimes usually, worst case scenario, usually if I get very nervous and I don't necessarily feel very comfortable about disclosing right then and there with my instructor, I usually send an email and go through the Disability Support Center, and I found that to work for me pretty well. But I think the reason for kind of this whole paranoia, if you could call it that, is, well, I don't want to come off as trying to provide some sort of excuse for some sort of lack of speed with test taking. So I don't want to come off to faculty as being either lazy or slow. It's just sometimes it takes me just a little bit extra time. And I think my grades kind of reflect that. You know, I'm not just slouching off of studying. It's more of a thing where I need time to process. And most of the instructors who've I had dealings with, I've usually just discussed it verbally with them.
Okay, thank you. All right, just so you guys know, I should have disclosed this earlier. Just out of sake of time, because I know I have to be done at 2:15, so I will have some of the students share some of the answers and others share other answers, just so we can get kind of everybody's perspective today. All right, but this one I am going to ask everybody to share with us, and we will start with Sarah on this one. I'm sorry, Sarah. List your accommodations that you regularly use, and how do each of these help you do your best?
My accommodations that I use is there are some times where I require the usage of Braille in the classroom, and that is most specifically for mathematics. And for those professors who have had me for mathematics, know about this, and they sometimes know also that it has been somewhat of a stress trying to get that textbook to me on time. But aside from that, I use a speech-adapted computer, and when I'm looking at your guys' syllabus, I see no using electronics in class. I always kind of get nervous at this and go, okay, how is the professor going to react when I basically say I need to use my computer, because that is what I take notes with. That is what I read my textbooks with. And for those of you who have had me in the classroom, know that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to handle that, because quite often I am asking, what page number are you at? And this would actually help out a lot if the professor actually said, okay, we're going to go to this particular page and you need to find this particular heading on the page so that way you can keep up with us. 20-page documents, like, for example, some syllabi that I've seen. Guys, it would be really nice because you guys have simple ways of where you can scan the document. I don't have those simple ways, unfortunately for me. But an easy way to do that is if you were able to put headings in the document right above where you were discussing either grades, homework assignments, anything of the sort, so that way I could easily find that particular heading, and when I do find it, I can look at that part of the document without too much of a problem. I also use my speech-adapted equipment for testing. Yet again, that requires the speech-adapted computer and also sometimes Braille. And for those of you who have had me for math, you know about this as well. And it does take me a little bit longer than normal, so I just kind of require patience when it comes to that, which all the profs that I've had have been pretty good about that. So.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Corbin, do you want that question again?
Yes, please.
List the accommodations that you regularly use, and how do each of these help you do your best work? You kind of already mentioned us a little bit.
I don't really have any accommodations other than what I've already mentioned.
Mention the reduced course load again and why that helps you.
The reduced course load is the biggest thing for me because it allows me to maintain a calmer environment both at home and, allowing for less stress in my life allows me to maintain a more focused mind and kind of keep the demons or whatever in check. And the psychologists out there you can ask them how it works, but for me, basically, it's, a less stressful environment. It's not adding more weight to myself. It's not dragging me down as much. It's, allowing me to bite off enough that I can, chew it and swallow it and take on the next bite when I'm ready and, keep on going at my own pace rather than taking on a full-time thing, handling it. And as someone who does require financial aid to pay for tuition and books and all of these other things, I do need that full time in order to maintain financial aid. So basically, that's the biggest thing. And the other one I mentioned was early registration, which is helpful to any student, I guess, just, picking out times that are helpful to them, fit into their schedule easier as someone who works on the side. So.
Kenya.
I try not to be too difficult, but I would like a more comfortable seat, something more padding, so that I'm able to sit longer. Something at the end of the row so that I'm not disturbing your class. This is just something that I want to show respect for you, by being able to try and sit longer. I like to be able to sit and stand as needed, or even leave the room. That way I can stretch or try and walk off the pain, and this is so that I don't disrupt you again. The ability to be able to use my computer in the classroom with the arthritis throughout my body, it's hard for me to write at times, and it's a lot easier for me to type. So if I'm able to type down my notes, and then also the use of a tape recorder is when I do need to go out and take walks and try and take myself, get myself together, I'm missing vital information. So stuff that might be on test, or, just stuff that I might need for my homework. So if I can record this throughout the whole time, I'm not missing anything. And then also, it helps me to where if I'm at home and I need to really study, I don't need to have to be sitting down at my computer trying to, really take a look at it. I could walk around my house and listen to my earphones. And they always say, like when you're sleeping, you listen to radio or you listen to Spanish, and the next day, hola, ¿cómo está? Yeah, So I'm hoping this kind of works for me. I haven't tried it yet, but maybe this semester will bring me some luck. So, there's just a lot of things that I try to utilize, but some of it is out of respect for you guys as well. And that's the important thing, is the mutual respect between the professor and the student, and that's what I try to bring to it.
Andrew.
All right. The only accommodation that I've really used was the testing accommodation, getting the extra time. I guess one thing that really bothers me about time pressure is I get a lot of anxiety from just not being overly concerned with not having enough time. Sometimes if I were to remove that factor out of the test, I could focus on the content.
I think we all have that one. That's the one thing I forgot to mention.
All right, thank you.
I wouldn't mind a comfy seat.
They get demanding after a while. All right, thank you guys. All right, what do you think is the biggest misperception that others have of you or have of your type of disability? Who wants to start us off on this one? Corbin, start us off.
Well, the biggest misconception I've seen with people who are depressed or suicidal is that they always seem to be gloomy or forlorn or always depressed and down in the dumps, and they always seem to act that way. And I've known a lot of people who are quite the opposite. I've seen a lot of people who are very upbeat, very motivated, very positive and emotional people in the good way. And then you come to find out that they've tried to take their life several times. And it's very heartbreaking almost to see that this has happened. And it's very almost shocking and very gripping, because I know that I've done it. Many people have come up to me and say, you can't be depressed. I see you all the time and you're so happy and you're always cracking jokes and you're always having a good time. And I say, well, you're not always around me. There's times when I'm all by myself and that's when it really hits.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Thanks, Corbin. Andrew, do you want that question again?
Yes, please.
What do you think is the biggest misperception that others have of you or of your type of disability?
Okay, one misperception that sometimes that seems to arise is that because my disability is a hidden disability, is that sometimes there's this grouping, there's this kind of, that sometimes I'm grouped as belonging to as having a different disability than the one I really have. You know, sometimes people may think that, you know, I
Have like a learning disability or some other type of disability that isn't
yeah,
actually
that
the
isn't
case for you?
necessarily related or really properly explains what sort of issues that I might have. And one big part is kind of the social impact that this disability has, which is really almost how it's defined, is that I come off as being kind of a loner, but even through the past three or so years, I've kind of been starting to try to push myself to be a bit more of an open person ever since I started going to college. And I guess that misperception doesn't necessarily help when the person may end up drawing the wrong conclusion.
All right. He pushed himself this summer to go do what was the full title of that, Andrew?
University of Michigan Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program. It was probably the best 10 weeks best 10 weeks of summer I've ever spent.
What? Kenya, same question. What's the biggest misperception that others have of you and your disability?
Well, with the mental, I don't think really, to me, people see it. My depression, I try to hold back for when I'm at home. I try and remain brave out in front. Being a business owner, I understand that it's all about perception, and I want to be able to get your business. So, you know, I always try and be happy and go lucky and you know, all front and forward. But behind closed doors, you know, things just kind of hit you. And sometimes when you're sad, people think that, you know, with me at least, when I'm sad, people think that I'm mad. And, you know, it's not all about that. You know, just sometimes we have thoughts that we just can't get away. As far as physical, you know, a lot of people see that, okay, you have MS and you've got osteoarthritis and you have all these different things, and sometimes, you know, you have trouble walking, so maybe you should just give up. And, you know, with me, it's not about giving up. It just pushes me harder to be able to get to the goals that I want to reach. If I always say, if you live your life like you're dead, you might as well be dead. You know, you can't just give up on life. You want to be able to experience everything that you can while you can. I know with me being a business owner and having children, that's why I started my company, because I want to be able to leave my children with a legacy and not a debt. So everything that I do now, I am doing so that I can be a mentor for my children, for the people that, you know, have disabilities like me, and say, hey, you know, we can still do things. We can still be a part of society, you know, and just don't have pity on me, because I don't want your pity. I don't need your pity. You know, I need your respect, you know, and I will give you the same thing.
Thanks. Sarah?
I feel the same way as Kenya about this, and I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, saw the video yesterday that I was a part of. And I'm going to repeat something that I said in that video because I feel that I just can't hit it home enough. It's not amazing what I do. There are some people who have said to me, that is totally amazing. How do you do it? What do you do to figure it out? How do you remember it? It's something that I've grown up with. It's something I've had to deal with. And with this misperception, I kind of feel like, you know what? There are 76% of blind people out there right now in this country who are not working because of the fact that they just don't worry about it. They just don't think it's a big deal to them. Well, I'm trying to turn everybody away from that perception because I'm like Kenya. I don't want pity. I want the fact of people to basically say, hey, she's here for a reason. She wants to make something out of herself and not nothing out of herself. So I just can't hit it home enough to where people say it's amazing, it's awesome, you're an inspiration. You know, I can be an inspiration if that's the way people feel about me, but I want to inspire other blind people, such as myself, to do the same thing I'm doing now, going to college, getting a degree, and making something of myself instead of nothing.
If I can touch on that, you know, like with Sarah, she's been through this for 18 years, so she's able to maneuver around things around campus very well and not have very many difficulties. You know, when I get my cane, I guarantee I can walk faster than 9/10 of you. I've been walking with it for 18 years. You know, people see me walking down the street with my cane and I'm passing them, they're like, he doesn't need a cane. No, it's like a person with a wheelchair. When you first get in a wheelchair, you're not going to go very fast. You've been in there for 18 years, you run the Olympics. Practice makes perfect. So, you know, when you see us with a cane or a walker or, you know, crutches, and you see us, you know, being able to really move, or, you know, you see us be able to walk around as needed, it's because we strive for the best. I always tell my children, strive for perfection. You might not be able to reach it, but it should not keep you from striving for it. Always try to be the best that you can.
He is a businessman. All right, I think I'm out of time, aren't I, Jeremy? Okay. All right, I appreciate all of you listening. Thank you, student panelists. I guess the final thing I just want to say is when I offered to do this student panel, the real reason that I offered to do that is to hopefully to open up the dialogue between faculty and students and realize how valuable it is to get their perspective and to get their help in the solution, whatever that might be. DSS is also here to help. I know there's been a lot of new information, and sometimes that raises a lot of anxiety. So please use us, please use the students. We're all valuable resources and work together
And the most
for
important
this.
thing is you guys are all our mentors. You know, there's still professors that I remember from when I first started that really hit home, that took the time to talk to me and took the time to understand me. And those are the ones that stick out for the most. You know, and when I talk to other people about GRCC, I mention your names. You know, when I look for classes, I look for your names just because I've created a bond with you guys. You know, I respect you. And please continue to be able to, you know, touch us like that. And that way we can carry that on with other students and with our children, and, you know, be able to inspire people to be able to open up to you and be able to come to this college.
Okay, thank you guys. Jeremy? Turn it over to Jeremy.